Welcome back to Crypto Questions. We've got another little video here which we're just going to talk about Ethereum and Ethereum London hard fork, and a little bit of explanation and a few questions around why they decided to do this Ethereum improvement change. And it's really been sparked by this article, which was published today on CoinDesk by Edward Osterman. He's one of their analysts in the research team, and it's been looking at what effects the changes have had in the first 60 days of the Ethereum economic future and how it's going to impact both the quantity of Ethereum available and more importantly, gas fees. Now, the London fork, the EIP 1559, has now been in play for 60 days. One of the points he makes is it's very early in the history of this fork to know exactly how it's going to impact on the Ethereum gas prices and the supply of Ethereum over the coming years. And it's only part of the Ethereum 2.0 changes that are coming online. So everybody knows that Ethereum is moving to a proof of stake network block reward system versus the proof of work system that's used by Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin miners get paid for doing the calculations, winning the right to record the block and all the changes that have occurred on that block. And every block that they win, they get rewarded with Bitcoin, and that is how new Bitcoin get released into the Bitcoin system. And there is a problem with that in terms of as the blocks become harder and harder to actually mine and reward, the only increase in revenue for the miners doing all the validation of the chain and recording of the chain is an increase in the value of Bitcoin, which is, of course, predicted to occur through the models that Plan B and others have formulated. So every 4 years, the rewards for Bitcoin miners halve. So twice the amount of work has to be done for the same quantity of Bitcoin, or vice versa. But as long as the value of Bitcoin's increasing, then the rewards in terms of US dollar revenue is the same. Now, Ethereum is moving to a completely different model, and EIP 1559 was brought in for a couple of reasons, because there were problems with the Ethereum network, in particular the gas fees. If we just click through onto this article, it explains it very nicely why they were looking at improving the network, because at peak times, Ethereum was effectively reaching just about its limits. And the way they moderated the demand for the network service was to increase the gas fees, the fees you and I as purchasers or users of the Ethereum network pay for a transaction to go through. And that made calculating fees and charges on the Ethereum network extremely difficult and complex. And at peak times, they could be very, very expensive. So part of the reasoning behind bringing in the IEP change was to address this instability in the cost of these fees. So it has the benefit of replacing an auction-style fee system for Ethereum charges with a fixed rate, effectively. And that makes calculating the fees on the Ethereum network for any transactions that go through consequentially much simpler, and it should even out those fees, and hopefully by increasing the total number of transactions that can go through by a factor of 2, I think it is, then there's extra capacity within the Ethereum network to absorb those things. But there are still ongoing problems, and this is part of what that article on the Coinbase, if we go back to it, was looking at in terms of the supply of Ethereum, because by reducing those fees that are paid to miners and effectively burning more Ethereum rather than redistributing it out into the network, you are restraining the total value of Ether, the token or coin associated with how these fees are all transacted and paid. And IEP 1559 is only one element of that calculation. What is also at play and has come to light through the massive rally in Ethereum chain network-based coins like particularly Shiba Inu that have absolutely exploded during the latter half of October and early November and effectively eaten up or locked away a significant number of Ethereum tokens. So I think it occurred during October sometime that for the first time the actual supply of ETH decreased on a 24-hour basis rather than increased. And the overall effect of these increased chain-linked effects and IEP 1559 is probably going to be quite deflationary for Ether. And by deflationary, we mean that the actual supply, the circulatory supply of Ethereum is probably going to end up a lot lower than it was prior to the IEP 1559 hard fork. Now, obviously, this has all got to play out over the coming years, and part of this article was really looking at how that's going to be reviewed and accepted by the market, and particularly by the Ethereum miners who are responsible for recording all the transactions on the block continuously. So it's going to be very interesting, and I think it's too early to call how the Ethereum 2.0 changes are really going to affect the supply of Ethereum. This is one estimate that they've done through Coinbase's research, and less than 40% of today's total supply of Ethereum may be circulating in the future as a result of some of these changes. So an interesting one. That's obviously deflationary. You would expect consequentially the price of Ethereum to start rising, and we certainly have seen that during October. Whether that is a sustained rise or whether it is just part of the market cycle and will come back down. But when you look at the actual rise in Ethereum that's occurred over the first 10 months of 2021, the base really seems to be much higher now. And the use case scenario and the future supply of Ethereum may well be playing into the markets with having an effect on that. So leave me your comments. I'm going to be interested to see what your opinion on this is, where Ethereum's going with the 2.0 coming next year. It's going to be very interesting. We've done a little video on the Ethereum price predictions that are out there. It's not my prediction. These were taken from the best that we could find online with some very well-founded estimates of future value and pricings for ETH. So have a look at that video as well. I'll put a link in this, and I'll also put a link to the Coinbase article and also this little article on notes.ethereum.org, which is obviously the Ethereum organization website for you to do more research and have a look at the IEP 1559 theories and what they're thinking is likely to happen. So thanks for watching.